So there it is, guys. He did what we thought he was going to do. As
he said he wasn't going to do.
Yeah, as Brett led this post game off with, he's who we thought he was, and so he said, they can't catch us. He said, frankly, we did win this election, and he said we want all the voting to stop, and we already have won it.
None of it all made sense. All of those things completely contradicted each other, and more importantly, logic and reality. It's so frustrating because you and I, the three of us, we know what the strategy is. Is it Trump's strategy? No, he didn't come up with it. Someone much smarter than him came up with it. And proof to that point I just made is that he doesn't even know how to execute it. He should have, I mean, the things, if this were a movie, the actor, the nefarious actor would sound more like Pence does. And that's Pence's skill. And that's, I think, something very central to the Trump administration that they messed up on early that they kind of came around on later. Trump is the only dumb stumbler. At the beginning, they had a bunch of other dumb stumblers. They had Sean Spicer, who you could tell was bad at this. And then he realized that what he needed are the Bill Barrs, and he had the Mike Pences, but he brought in people who could, like Bill Barr, who could sit there and very even, in a very even keeled manner, carry out the deceit and do the double talk and seem like he's on your side when really everything he's doing is just fighting for an authoritarian figure to head up the United States. When Trump comes out there and what he's trying to say is, listen, it's very strange that at the last minute, the vote tabulation went completely haywire. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. We're gonna get our lawyers on it, and we're gonna find out exactly what happened. But instead, he said things like, originally, when we started counting, we were way up. And then we counted more votes and we were less up and we're way down and we don't have all the vote. And he said he poked all the holes in his own argument. Basically, what he's saying is he is commentating election night like someone who doesn't understand how you score points in a basketball game. It's like they started out with 0 points. How is it 45-3 now? I don't know how that happened. We got to look into this. But we all know how the game is played. We all know that they're counting votes. We've explained throughout the night where those votes are, where the question marks are. We point out that when it comes to us counting all the votes, that's completely BS. Because most people couldn't vote when America was founded because most people in America are women. And it took till 1920 for all people to be able to vote that were of voting age. So that's all BS. But when it comes down to it, I hope we need to call out all the frivolous lawsuits that are just anti-democratic, that are against what America as a country believes in, which is we get to decide. You don't get to decide, we do.
Yeah, well, to your point, Brett, about not knowing the talking points, I mean, who's gonna teach it to him? What, are you gonna write it down? He's not gonna read it if you write it down. And so maybe they drew a cartoon, but how did he fumble the court one? He said, I told you they'd be going to the courts, Newt. Didn't I say they'd be going to the courts? I knew it. And I'll tell you, this is an outrage. We're going straight to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You just like a minute ago said the Democrats are terrible for going to the courts. And then you turn around and said, I'm going to the courts. So look, guys, that's another thing that's dispiriting. I mean, as the night goes on and on and on, it's hard not to get depressed about the state of the country because this is not 2016 where, well, maybe some people or maybe even weirdly a lot of people missed who Donald Trump was. Now at this point, we know exactly who this sumbitch is. And not only did he win in some places, he had coattails in some places. Now, at the end of the day, we think the numbers look like he's going to lose the election, and there's a lot of scenarios where he loses, and basically like only one scenario where he wins, and that's so he's got, like I've been saying all along, he's got a sweep. So, but that's not the issue. The issue is that there's two issues. One is the long-term issue of how could, I don't know what the number is going to be. I don't even currently know what it is. Brent, maybe you do, or JR, you do. But it like 43, 45% of the country, whatever it is for the popular vote. How could 45%?
Right now,
yeah,
it's for the popular vote is 49.8% Biden, 48.5% Trump.
How could 48% of the, put aside the racism, put aside everything else? We don't, but let's put it aside for a second. How could 48% of the country see this moron day in and day out? I can't believe they're going to the courts. I'm going to the courts. And go, yeah, that's my guy. I'm with dummy. I mean, you guys saw before the election all the Trump flags on the cars. I'm sorry, but I literally told my kids, yeah, those flags mean I'm with dummy. And by the way, don't go anywhere near them. They're dangerous. They're not dangerous because of potential violence, although that's also true. They're dangerous because they're detached from reality. They think, yeah, me no like Democrats go to courts. Go to courts is bad. Me love Trump go to courts. Go to courts is good. 48.5% of the country is that dumb.
Well, that's just in us voting now. Now that 48%, 48.5% of the country has, at least tonight, gone along with whatever he's previously said. Now, not that I think this will happen this way, but now that we've had the speech come out that he denied he would give, the one that was previewed beforehand on multiple publications to point out this is the plan. Because let's keep it real. Pollsters work for campaigns. They pay a lot of money. In fact, the Trump campaign paid much more money in this cycle for the internal pollsters than the Biden campaign has. So you think they didn't know all the possibilities? That's what they're paid to do. That's what you pay them tens of millions of dollars for, to make sure that they know all the possibilities, that you have the correct messaging on election night. This is their only correct messaging at this point. So they're looking at the way that things are leaning. They're looking at how the election seems to be going. They're looking at everything that we know, that we're talking about tonight, they know as well. They know the number of votes that are still yet to be counted in Pennsylvania. They know where things are leaning. They know that they've already lost Arizona, that he decided to point out and say maybe they still have a chance there too. They know all these things. And they said, this is our one card that we can play, and we have to play it right now. If we play it any later, it's gonna be too late. If we played it too soon, then we're not close enough. We don't have those numbers the way we needed them. All this was planned. It's just a matter of whether or not enough people will continue to buy it, or at least give it enough legitimacy. I'm looking at Fox News website right now. Headline: Trump claims victory despite undecided states, hence the SCOTUS action. And in quotes, we won.
But it's not just that he claimed victory. Like Joe Biden came out and said, we look good right now. That's not we won, stop counting. That's, I think we look good now. By the way, that's factual, right? But Trump didn't just say we look good, and he didn't just say we won. He said, quote, we want all the voting to stop.
Yep.
Okay, now first of all, what does that mean? That's already inexact and not the way they probably drew it up, right? So if he wanted to obfuscate, what he should have done is said, look, it's so important, as Penn said, it's so important that the vote is paramount and sacrosanct in America. And I love that all these people voted and we've counted those votes. And I really want to make sure that there's no fraud here and that they don't count any votes that aren't real or that aren't legal, et cetera, right? And then you go in and try to make sure you eliminate all the votes that are actually legal to try to win. That's how a sophisticated robbery goes on, right? But he's not sophisticated. He comes out and says, we want all voting to stop.
Of course you do, you're in the lead.
Yeah.
There's an episode of The Office where Michael, they go up by 2 points, he notices it, and then he fakes an injury and calls the game. I guess that's it, you guys are working on weekends. That's what just happened.
100%.
But is he winning? No.
I mean, right now.
No, they haven't been called.
No, JR.
They haven't been called.
JR. Well, if you look right now, I'm looking at the battleground states on on the show on my website here, and it says that Minnesota, yes, Trump's down, but North Carolina, Trump's up 1.4, 95%. Georgia, he's up by 3. Michigan, he's up by 8. Pennsylvania, he's up by 13. And Wisconsin, he's up by 4. He's winning. That's it. It's over. It's nighttime. I'm sleepy. Aren't you sleepy? Let's just go to sleep. Everyone, please go to sleep so I can steal this thing while you're asleep.
Yeah, and
I mean, what is your
really
level
not
of
much more.
confidence? Yeah, go ahead.
It's really not much more sophisticated than that. So with 68% of the vote reporting, it's like playing. It will continue with the sports analogy. It's like playing 68% of a football game, and then one side comes out and goes, "Well, okay, now let's all stop playing football," which is almost exactly the equivalent of what Trump said. And the other team and the refs and the crowd has to be like, "Wait, what do you mean? There's like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. There's a whole fourth quarter. We have to finish the third. What do you mean? Let's stop playing football?" Like, yeah, no, I'm the winner. Let's stop. And then they just walk off the field. What do you do with that? I mean, what do you do with a lunatic who says things like that? And I'll tell you what 48.5% of the country is gonna do. Goddamn right. That's right, man. You know, once you're up, you stop counting. That's true. That's how all dictators, democracies do it. Yeah. That's not a thing where you stop counting at 68%. But now apparently it is, and soon half the country will believe, of course, in a democracy, you definitely don't count all the votes. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.